Hi everyone, welcome back to another Trove video. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the dark side of Trove. That is of course the Trove hackers and botters. We're about to debunk a lot of things about these hackers and botters. I hope that this video will cover every single thing about the Trove hackers and where most of them came from and other things like that. This video is probably going to be a very long video, so bear with me here. I would also highly appreciate if you hit the subscribe button because it would help my channel a lot. And if you are already subscribed to my channel, hit the notification bell icon so you don't miss any of my content. I will also not be sharing any names of some programs or website names in this video because this video is not intended for a promotion of this third-party software, and I don't want anyone to assume that this video is a hacking or botting promotion video just because I debunk most of them in one video. Now with that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. First off, there's a reason why I will separate between Trove hackers and botters. I'm going to refer to Trove hackers as those who use hacks using a third-party software to speed up their grinding, and the Trove botters in this case is going to be those who use a third-party software to automate their grinding in the game. Alright, so we know the difference between Trove hackers and Trove botters for this specific context. Now let's start off with why. Why do they have the feel to use hacks in the first place? There are a ton of reasons as to why they would want to hack in the first place, but I think that the reason why most of the hackers wanted to use hacks in the first place is because they don't want to waste a lot of their time in grinding, because Trove is a very grindy game. Some may argue that Trove is not that hard to grind for stuff, but it's not entirely true. It's probably only easier for players who already have a high mastery rank with like a really high tier tools. This can be like the max level of geode gears or maybe a maximum amount of magic find. But even with all of that, it still feels very grindy, especially for the rare untradeable items. The game doesn't tell you exactly the chances of getting a specific item. Some people have done some math to get the probability of a specific item, but even with that, it's still not very accurate. Most of the players who claim that it's very easy to get some rare items, such as crystal level 4 gear, is based on a bias calculation and more towards like how they are so lucky and others are just very bad at the game. The other reason why they would most likely use hacks in Trove is probably for earnings or real life currency. Since it's very easy to get started with Trove hacking or botting, people started to abuse it even further, such as using a lot of accounts for botting. This is possible due to the lack of the anti-cheat system in the game, and some even have reached more than 1 billion flux by just using some bots, but that still doesn't mean that every single billionaire in Trove use hacks. Many people started using hacks and bots ever since Trove was released on Steam. It even exists since 2014, but we cannot really know exactly who started this in the first place and when did it start exactly. Trove hacking and botting gets a lot of popularity in this one forum. There may be other websites, but this one is the most well-known website or forum of Trove hacking and botting for everyone. Not only does it consist of Trove hacks and bots, but it also has a marketplace section for people to sell their flux or their accounts for real life currency in here. A lot of people like to just assume that these kinds of websites have a virus on them, and if you click on the download button you will get a virus, but that's not exactly true. The reason why this website or forum is getting a lot of popularity is because the legitimacy of their hacks and it's not provided by just one single person. It is more like a community of Trove hackers, so it's very hard to banish all of them, I guess. One of the most well-known bot is this phishing bot, which is also open source and can easily be edited. This is the phishing bot that most Trove fish botters use right now, and this is also one of the reasons why Glim price has been dropping into 1 flux each. This phishing bot is probably the easiest one to get started with, and by far the most effective way to drop the price of a Glim in the marketplace. But that is just a phishing bot, so what about the Bomber Royale bot? Most of the Bomber Royale botters make their own bot. I think there are some Bomber Royale bots that exist to the public, but it's not 100% effective, or at least it's not as effective as the phishing bot. That's why the price of Bomber Royale items haven't dropped into like 1,000 flux each. But other than fish botting and Bomber Royale botting, there is also something called a marketplace bot. Recently, a marketplace bot has been gaining quite a lot of attention, but currently there is no marketplace bot available to the public, which is a good news for us. Let's start with the Trove hack. Most of the Trove hacks, like the speed hack, is usually made by people that use a very well-known third-party software that's made for cheating in a lot of games, and also a memory debugger. But how does it exactly operates? Let's take Trove movement as an example. Trove characters movement is more of a client-side values, so it's possible for this program to manipulate the values into our desired numbers. Usually they find a certain values inside the memory, and then they check if that value is the right one, and if it is, then they can just change it. But this doesn't mean that we can just use like 10,000 movement speed or something like that, because we will definitely get rubber band and probably not move at all. This is because that there is a limit of how much speed is allowed within the Trove servers, if I'm not mistaken. But what about Trove botting? Most of the Trove botters don't really use a memory debugger tool that much to make their bots. They usually use macros to make the bot, or even a custom scripting language, and then they compile them into a program that can be used to automate their grinding in Trove. An example of how a phishing bot works would be like this. Let's say that when we start a program, it will reset the character state into an idle state, and we check if that character is phishing or not, and if it's not phishing, then we send a keystroke to start phishing. When it reaches around 20 to 30 seconds, we send another keystroke again to get the fish, and after that we can just repeat the whole process over and over again. But that's a very rough example and a very bad type of bot, because what happens when the fish is not within the range of 20 to 30 seconds? Or how do we know if a fish is being captured or not? Now that's where something called a pointer gets the job. But since I don't want this video to be a very long video, I'm just going straight to what it is used for in this case. Pointers in a phishing bot are usually used to get the information whether a character is phishing or not. Now I know that's not the real definition, but it's a rough sketch of how important a pointer is to all these phishing botters. Fish botters are kind of a bit hard to detect, because let's say if someone were to start fishing for 10 hours straight, and what makes that person and a fishing botter any different, right? We cannot just assume that every single players who are fishing for a long time is a botter, because we cannot see the difference unless they talk in chat. But even with that, fish botters can still talk and chill in the chat like any normal people can. But what about hacking people's account? Is it even possible? The way that people hack other people's account is by somehow letting the hacker gain access to the victim's PC, or maybe tricking the victim into giving the hacker their password. Not only that, but the hacker will also need to get a verification code from the victim too, which is highly impossible unless the victim is dumb enough to give the hacker their authentication code. If someone were to hack other people's account without even touching them or having any contact with them, then the hacker would have to get the glyph accounts database at least, which is also very impossible. So if anyone is claiming that their account is getting hacked, then there is only two explanations. One is that they are stupid enough to fall for a trap and somehow let a hacker gain access to their PC, or they are lying and overreacting. Trove hackers and botters are just one of many things that's breaking Trove economy system. The lack of the anti-cheat system actually allows this to happen in the first place. Sure, we can try to report some of these hackers, but that still won't do any good if Trove itself doesn't have a specific anti-cheat system. I've seen some players defending some botters like it's a normal thing to do, which is kind of disgusting, you know. If you guys want to join my Discord channel, the link is down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!